Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our reaction and review for the Blacklist Season 10, Episode 20. How's everybody feeling? Is everybody just like as sad and it's like mixed up in emotions as I am at the moment?
I'm so excited. This was such a good episode. It's leading us into this like double episode finale next week. It's just gonna like it this has made me so excited. I was really worried after the whole Wu Jing thing ended and things have been so slow that it wasn't going to pick up enough speed for this finale, but it has picked up speed.
The writers were cooking in this episode too. Like, we've given them their fair share of flack, but there were some really
Yes.
really good monologues, some really fun moments, just like little one-liners, a good Spader speech, all of this sort of stuff. We get to make fun of Arthur Hudson again. Like, what's not to like about that? Like, come on.
Arthur Hudson, not number 2 on the Blacklist. It was really fun to actually see that he wasn't number 2. That was something that we have said that we've been worried about. There was, of course, the rumor mill, Reddit, Wiki, IMDb, all these unreliable sources that have been saying that Arthur Hudson was going to be number 2. He is not number 2. He is just Arthur Hudson. And yes, we've seen the promo and we will have, a preview for that tomorrow where it's sort of seemingly implied that maybe Reddington's number 2 on the Blacklist, which is something that a lot of us have thought. Put a number 1 in the chat if you guys think that Reddington is number 2. I'm just kidding. This isn't live. But if you do want to see us live, we are going to have our first live over on our Patreon on July 13th after the episode so that you can come there and you can talk to us about the Blacklist finale. We're really excited about it. We have a link for you below that you can click on and you can join our Patreon and help support our channel, but it also lets you talk to us live next week. So that's going to be at about 7:45, 8 p.m. over on the West Coast time, which is going to be more like, 10:45, 11 o'clock. I know it's a little bit later for you guys on the East Coast, but we want to try to make it that everybody is awake. We're going to be doing a live over there. And we are really excited to chat with all of you guys. And we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Now, just like straight out of the gate, can I just say the part of this episode that made me the most joyful? Like,
was it seeing James Spader and Andrew McCarthy back together again?
Yes.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh my God. Okay.
Oh, I loved it.
Let's go through the range of emotions here, because first we had just his voice on the over the plane, and I was just like, I know that voice. And I mean, a part of it is knowing Andrew McCarthy, but it's also like he was on The Resident not that long ago, so I'm kind of used to having his voice in my ear. So I'm like, that's Andrew McCarthy, and he's directed a lot of episodes. It's like, okay, there was a universe where this could happen. We've all been wanting this for like, a decade. Who's counting?
I've wanted to see this so much on the show. I mean, all of us Pretty in Pink fans out there and growing up during that time, it was so nostalgic to see those two together. It was just so cool.
Yeah, the music, the seeing him.
The music, it was so cool.
Andrew McCarthy seemed like he was just having a grand old time with the whole thing as well. Edward, the pilot, apparently does not get to have this many adventures. The only thing that would have been greater about it is if...
Even greater?
In the trunk of, like in the back trunk of the car,
it turns out, yes,
John Cryer is the co-pilot of the plane. Like this, just throw Ducky. No, I love this so much. It was so fun.
No, it was incredibly fun. I mean, this whole episode, what a ride. Yeah. I mean, like, oh my God. Yeah. I don't even really know where to start. Okay, well, we'll start with Arthur Hudson, because yes, a lot of us thought maybe the rumors might be true, that it might be Arthur number 2, the biggest big bad under Liz.
Yeah.
But it's not. But he is still causing a lot of problems. I mean, like a lot of problems. He got the task force shut down. Everybody's like in there ripping the place apart. There was a few moments there that I I mean, Hudson definitely came across as someone who's, I know they were all like, oh, he's a Boy Scout. It's like, yeah, but he's not. There
Yeah.
was that minute there where the plane exploded and he's like, I need bodies. And Sia's like, these are human
Yeah.
beings. Like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, I don't care kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you're a terrible person.
Yeah. He is a tool that is so massive that, like, not even like the Home Depot and Lowe's want anything to do with this tool. It's just like, no, go out of here. I mean, Hudson clearly sucks. I think the other thing is that, yeah, it makes sense for him to not have a blacklist number because he's not really, he's not a criminal. He is a politician who just so happened to, let's just put it this way. He just wants to be president. He wants to be vice president. He wants to be rising up the food chain here when it comes to power. That's all he wants.
He has way too much power in this episode, meaning like he's there for things that he shouldn't be there for, like coming in and sweeping out the task force and, being part of all the questioning. I'm just kind of like, why are you here? And I know that other people there had sort of asked that same sort of question and they were like, it's nothing. It's okay. I'm just like, no, this is really weird. This doesn't make any sense. That it made me, tinfoil hat, start to think that he is somebody who has beef with Reddington, just specifically Reddington. The two of them have beef, especially when Reddington, came on screen and was like, oh, I can't see everybody, but I'm the person you're really after. Like, I'm the person you have beef with. And the more that this episode went on, I was like, this beef feels like it's deeper than just, Hudson wants to do the right thing and bring him in.
He either has beef or he is such an obsessive person that I
think it's just that, but it felt like something more.
It could still be something more because like his obsession over this is extreme.
Wild.
Like really, really extreme. And yeah, you're onto something with how is the congressman there? Listen, I've watched C-SPAN. I know what these people can and cannot do. And he is just like running all over the place. I know his whole, what?
I'm laughing because I've never seen you watch C-SPAN, but that doesn't mean anything.
I have turned it on for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Sure, that is exactly the same thing as a congressional hearing.
Exactly the same thing.
Correct. No, okay. See, the thing here is that Hudson, he is so just drunk off his own power, drunk off this whole idea of like, okay, this is something I can do. Nobody else can do it. He's got main character syndrome. I am the only person who can put a stop to Raymond Reddington because all these other, chumps have been doing this for so long. They've gotten nowhere. I don't trust any of them. I've got to find a way to get this done. Somebody should have stopped him, but clearly everybody is just in a panic. It's either that or it's just like making no sense, but I'm just going to go with panic for the sake of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of a weird situation. He was so involved. He was in places he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, Reddington was kind of talking to him pretty directly in that video for quite a bit of it, that live stream or the stream that was going on with them. It really feels like there's something more. And if there was more episodes, then I'd say, yeah, there has to be some sort of connection where these two have worked together in the past. Hudson got, screwed over by Reddington, as Reddington does to everybody, but he's not taking it, where the task force has taken it because it's for the greater good, and Hudson was like, not me, like, you're not going to get one over on me, and his own ego got in the way. That's what it feels like. And again, if there was more episodes, I think that could have been a thing, but with there being only 2 episodes left, I just don't think they're really going to get that much deeper into it. I think he just is, like Raymond said, a dog with a squeak toy.
Yeah.
Annoying everybody.
And I think the thing here is that Hudson, if we're going to continue this like dog analogy for a moment, he is now a dog that's like chasing a, Ford Mustang down the street that's going way too fast that he's never going to be able to catch. And that Mustang is Raymond Reddington because Reddington is always multiple steps ahead. And we see sort of this play out a little bit throughout this episode. And I mean, we end this episode, of course, with Reddington ready to go on the run, but he's not able to catch him on his plane, despite Reddington waiting forever for Weecha to show up.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this is the part of the episode that I was kind of surprised by with Reddington. Like, yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, I've always had it so that, this plane could go at any time. Anytime I needed to do that, I could do that. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You
Yeah.
want everyone to think that you're dead. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Does he, as a master criminal, he would know that people aren't just going to see the plane, go up in flames and be like, that's enough proof for me. I don't need to go and check and see if anybody's actually there. Like, absolutely, they were going to check. Even with, Hudson being like, I need to see a body. They would have checked, and they did. And there's no bodies. So it's kind of like, well, then what was the point of doing this with the plane anyways, if you knew that they were going to do this? Because it didn't give you enough of a head start, because you went over to Cooper's house, which wasn't being watched by anybody, which I also found really weird. I was kind of like, wouldn't everybody's places be being watched, or the task force be being watched? Because they're like, oh, they're all compromised by Reddington, that they wouldn't be like, well, maybe he'll show up at their place. There was a couple of things I was kind of like, I need to have like my hat of disbelief on here, suspension of disbelief, for this to be like anything. I was surprised that Reddington didn't have bodies on the plane, where it was like, oh yeah, we'll take out things that might identify these people, tattoos, teeth, fingerprints, whatever, but we have to have somebody there.
Yeah, like that part of it, while I was watching, I didn't think so much about the airplane part of it. Like, I did just think, okay, yeah, of course they're going to figure out he's not on the plane. Maybe it will buy him some time. The Cooper part of it, yeah, I was right there with you with that, because it was just sort of like, Reddington, number one, you're still here, and number two,
yeah, like what he did all that to escape with Weecha to then have her drive him to Cooper's house.
Yeah, it was kind of random and kind of hilarious, but it's also, it brings me back to really, I think the most important thing to me with all of this is just like how much Reddington doesn't care anymore about a lot of this sort of stuff. Like, I don't think he wants to go to prison. I think if he did, he would have just turned himself in. But I think he's just, at this point, he kind of figured at some point in his life it might come to this. He's done a lot of the great things that he wants to do. I think he's also still confident enough in his ability to find a way to get out of this situation that I think he's just sort of like, c'est la vie, I'm going to go out in the way in which I want to go out. I'm going to have one final thrill of the chase here. I'm going to say Catch Me If You Can, which, wonderful movie. I would watch that movie almost every day if I could. Like, I love a good chase cat and mouse game, and I like the idea that Reddington he seems to be game for this, and I think he's going to be okay almost no matter what happens.
Yeah, having it be that the task force last blacklister that they have to get is Raymond, I mean, this makes the most sense of the end. But I mean, how is it really going to end then? Because it does feel like Raymond's not going to end up in jail unless he really wants to sacrifice himself for the task force, because he knows what the stakes are. If they don't catch him, they're all probably going to jail. So where does it go from here then? That, Reddington's on an island, with Weecha enjoying his life, and everybody else is in jail. The people that we know he cares about them. And we've seen what he's been doing for the people that he cares about. We saw Hetty, we saw Brimley, we saw AGNES get Liz's badge. Like, why is he holding on to I would have thought that after she passed away, that maybe that badge would be back in the system, but no, Reddington has that to give. It was a nice moment.
Yeah, let's go through a few of these different moments here before we get into what's ultimately going to happen to everybody. But like, okay, first of all, I was surprisingly really moved by the scene with Reddington and Hetty, and like her reaction to what he did for her.
Wonderful.
I know, and it's just sort of like, I've always liked Hetty, but like Hetty was never, I wouldn't say, in my like top 2 or top 3 Reddington cohorts, but it was like, that just made my heart so warm and so happy for her. It's like, okay, all of your devotion has paid off. The Brimley scene, is outstanding, incredible.
So funny.
No notes. Like Brimley.
Why don't you get into helping animals? What would make you think that I would want to do that?
I know him saying that, him basically being like he needs the job to get out of the house. Like Brimley had like a minute of screen time and he came off the bench and scored like 8 3-pointers, like really dominated the game. I love this because we've always seen Brimley as well, sort of like being called in somewhere. So for Reddington to visit Brimley and to not only see he's got like these snakes around, but if you guys were listening really closely, there were like birds and other weird animal. I feel like they just like put on the keyboard all the different random animal noises and had them playing throughout this entire scene.
No, I mean it was really great to see them and have that whole scene, and even with like Reddington's escape, seeing Dembe put himself at risk, put his job at risk
Yeah.
to make sure that he helps Reddington escape, seeing Ouija come back and, that she made him wait, but, got there, and that she has accepted his offer to lay on a beach somewhere and travel the world with him. It was good to have these sort of cameos come in of all the people that we've gotten to know and care about over all this time.
Yeah, I think it's meaningful. It's a great reminder of like how far we've all come on this show over the years. I think the hardest thing, as frustrating as it is that we almost have to look at like the Boking Camp era of this show as something almost different at this point, with like how little they bring up Reddington's identity, how little we're seeing certain characters.
How little? It's like nothing. Like I was grasping at straws in this episode. There was a minute that Reddington said something along the lines of like, I am who I am. And I was like, are they actually going to get into Popeye the Sailor Man?
Yeah.
Are we getting into something here? No. I was just like, anything, guys, anything.
I was like looking at some point because we know that like Ilya went off into hiding, right?
Yep.
That like if somebody wouldn't be able to help him and help him get it out, Ilya's apparently pretty good at it because he's just freaking vanished off the face of the earth.
Yep.
Never even heard from him again.
Yep.
Like it would have been good to get something like that, but I think we got to set our expectations accordingly for a lot of that. We'll talk more about that in the preview, but like
I will not. If I don't get an answer on who Reddington is, I'm gonna burn this place. Okay, all right, I won't, but I'm gonna be very mad. There's gonna be a very mad video here next week, and a very, very mad live with a bunch of other angry Blacklist fans.
I was about to say, we've already had enough fires associated with this show. We do not need to add another one to the list.
I know.
We already also have in here, apparently, Dembe knowing where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, which this is what I liked about this episode. It was they really put a lot of effort into making it really, really funny. And even giving Hisham, who's usually like the serious guy, I would watch him saying he knows where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, and then him with the helium, like on a loop for the rest of my life.
With the helium.
Yeah.
He is so funny. His comedic timing is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And okay, so we've had all of this just like wonderful, delightful content in here. We're set up for a really good finale, and now we just need to all give Ressler a hug. Like I feel so bad for Ressler. Like he got duped again. Everything that happens in this episode with Jonathan, it's really sad for this guy. Like,
it's extremely sad, and I do think that it really is setting up for where Ressler's gonna end up going forward. Like I've talked a little bit about this here and there, but I really just feel like he's going to end up in a spot where he's helping people. I think that was something that he was feeling really good about. He got Jonathan on, a good path. If it wasn't for Hudson, I think Jonathan would have been able to continue with his sobriety and feeling good and, making some really good progress. And a lot of that was going to be from Jonathan, but also from Ressler's support. And I think that with everything that actually happened with Jonathan, that now it's going to push Ressler even further into that spot where he really wants to help people.
This is the big question I have for Hudson beyond why do you suck so much is just
a terrible person.
He's horrible. And I understand a lot of what he's done can be sort of explained by, well, I'm just looking into everything that's happened with this criminal.
No.
But yeah, it's like, one, no. Two, your actions have now directly led to what happened to Jonathan. If you have any sort of humanity, like in your mousy, annoying soul, you have to find a way to feel something after all of this and realize what you've done.
Doesn't. He's like, bring me the bodies. That's why I was just like, okay, this guy has to be some sort of a criminal or linked to Reddington some sort of way. For him to be like, I need a body, bring in the body. I was just like, wow.
Well,
okay, Hudson, you're just so bad.
This is why, now that we're 20 minutes into this, I can introduce, and what better time to introduce a new character into these videos than the second to the last week we're covering the Blacklist.
Oh.
I am Captain Loophole. I am here to find a loophole to make it so everyone is okay. And so Captain Loophole is going to... He's here.
Brawny.
What can I say? There's only so many different animations that I know how to do in a video. But Captain Loophole, I keep alternating between first and third person here.
Captain Loophole.
Okay. Captain Loophole, I am here in the finale. I am going to find a way to take down Hudson, make sure the task force is fine, and make sure that Reddington lives. Will it make sense? I'm Captain Loophole. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Listen, we live in a world on the Blacklist where we have seen bugs come out of people's mouths, robots run around as real people.
Liz's age just changed in the fire for no reason.
I think if we're all still on board with this show at this point,
we are, till the wheels fall off.
We all have to have a certain expectation that things are going to be a little bit absurd sometimes. And honestly, I don't care so much if things make sense at the end of the day, as long as it feels satisfying and it feels right to us after watching for so many years.
Yeah, I'm okay with some absurdity as long as they tell me who Raymond Reddington is and the answer is believable. That's it. I don't care. This is an unpopular opinion, and we have a video over on our Patreon that is all about our unpopular opinions. However, this is one of them for me, is that I do not care who Raymond is anymore. I just need them to tell me who he is and stand on it. And I know there's a lot of people out there like, no, I care who he is. He has to be this person. This. I don't care anymore. You just need to tell me who he is. Give me a good reason for it, and I'll be like, okay, I believe you. It's fine.
See,
it'll all be fine.
I kind of care because if they tell me who it is and it's not something I believe in, that'll be me in the video next week where I'm like, how could it be this person? And I'm going to show up with like a rolling scroll of all these different plot holes to try to point them all out.
As long as they actually tell us who it is, please. Oh my goodness, please. Dear Blacklist.
Yes.
Please just tell me who Raymond Reddington is. Amen. I don't have anything else to ask for from you guys. Come on, NBC, just deliver.
I believe the wheels have come off this video faster than they came off that plane over the past few. In between Captain Loophole, us like praying to the Blacklist universe for answers that they probably aren't going to give us.
I stand on what I said.
Okay, well, I'm sad now.
I know. So we will see you guys tomorrow for our very last ever Blacklist preview.
Okay.
My heart.
I know. Our hearts are breaking.
My heart is breaking. We've been covering this show for so long.
You guys can make us all feel better by joining our Patreon and taking part in our live series finale stream that's going to be going on over there next. We can all cry our eyes out together, have a good time. We've got other shows we're doing right now. We've got some really good ones coming up, Justified, City Primeval, Only Murders in the Building. We're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully they will drive us as crazy as this show has, but thank you guys. We'll see you here next time.